Certainly going to be the difference maker here. How many times have we seen throughout this season of LCO that it's been, the better support jungle pairing wins? Their timings, their rotations, their spidey senses to know that something isn't really adding up. Certainly has been the difference maker. And to touch on an interesting point, right, when we look at when this Lee Sin was last played, during the LCO at least, that was a couple of years ago, last played by Lived. But if you look at recent times, actually was played by Tien over in the PCS playoffs when they took that very first game off the LJL. So, yeah, going to be raring to go, ready to prove himself once again that the pocket pick is his for a reason, and maybe warrant a ban going into game 2.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see Lee Sin, but I want to touch on this. This is so nice to see by Ground Zero. All the time, Karthus players, they just full clear, right? You never ever get to see them use the strongest strength of Karthus, which is the fact no champ in the game can contest Karthus level 1. If he lands all these Skittles, his damage output is insane. He is one of the strongest junglers in the game, or the strongest champions in the game at level 1. So really nice to see that they are going into Invade. They are creating volatility that, we thought Ion would be the ones wanting to do this. So it's good to see that Ground Zero have a game plan and they are, attacking on it.
They've understood the assignment, right, as you'd say, from Iron, that they need to try and bridge that gap some way, and they're not going to be afraid to dabble into some of that craziness themselves as well. And I'm curious to sort of see what that first bit of blood is spilt, whether or not it be in the spot lane, which it certainly looks like it could be right now as the Ignites go out, the Summons to match the barrier to deny all that damage, whilst Lemus holds on to his. Styx does not. Flashes are all there, but now that kill pressure is sky high.
Yeah, barrier advantage will be there to Ground Zero, but the major thing for the Skimmy is the fact that the junglers are split on the map right now. If Coley wants to cross-bot to impact this 2v2, he's giving up all his topside camps, whereas, Schoenfire can walk bot side after clearing those camps, but we are seeing the aggression in the bot lane. The bone playing does come back up.
Jovi, dangerously close to getting the kill. He just needs one more auto. It was buffing, it was waiting, it was so low. And then Fighto within that window flashes the safety and says, you know what, fair enough.
They didn't even know Skivvy. They had no idea that they invaded their jungle level 1. So Coley caught out of position. Gonna be, lose so much experience if Schoenfire does, recognize this and go back to the top side. If Coley shows on any vision on the bot side right now, he's gonna lose his ult. Schoenfire's entire top side. It's gonna be 3 quadrants going to the Karthus, and there's such a lights out moment for these mage junglers.
And it's such an awkward moment for Coley to try and go for this invade because his mid lane's just gone back to base. His bot lane is holding it in suspension, and then top lane is further and further behind. So you're going for this invade, you find nothing here. You're saying, well, I have to go top. But how do you gain access to top when Tien is just pushed up?
Oh no, Skivvy, this is going to be a very strong Karthus going into this first base, picking up these extra camps. Fighter does not have the flash though for this gank. If this route lands, he will be going down.
Does he have the Valkyrie? He looks to try and play it towards the top half of the river. Makes a lot of sense, but I think he's running between nowhere and very fast. Falling on down. There's the first blood for Jovi. That's what you wanted to see. And this is the start they'll need to try and rely upon.
This is what we want to see from I. We want to see volatility created in the mid lane. And this is the matchup that really does it. Tristana being able to jump forward consistently onto the Corki has, the bone playing advantage against the inspiration tree from Corki. So every time that is up, he can trade aggressively. There is a sustained advantage going towards Fighter who does have the cookies, but the straight up all-ins, it's always going to favor the resolve tree.
And I know you've been a big advocate for Jovi playing the ranged carries as opposed to the Yone. Obviously, those aggressive tendencies still ring true, but having that positioning advantage certainly could be the difference right here. And speaking of that, Schoenfire going to pop his head into the top lane now and say, well, I've taken literally everything on the map. I know exactly where you'll be on reset here, Coley. It can only be this one spot, and I'm ready and waiting for you.
Level 5 already. Coley did get both of the crabs, so it's not lights out for him, but he's in such a bad position. He did get the, the component on that first recall, but he's losing his camps again, and he's not going to win this 1v1 against Shern. He needs his laners to be able to impact this one for him, Skivvy, but it's so bad for Ion solo lanes if they're pulled out of their matchup to be able to, fight this, because if they do get matched in tandem, this is a level 5 Karthus.
Yeah, and nobody wants to be drawn away from this, right? Obviously, the Tristana wants to keep on fighting. Oh, look at these Skittles. He really is laying waste to everything on this map right now. But Jovi might say, enough is enough. We have to answer back. You can see that Tien has already roamed down from top side. Doraemon stuck underneath his tower, doesn't really want to be involved whatsoever. And it's just such an awkward moment because, yes, your mid lane is strong, but your jungler is just so far behind.
And Jones completely happy with that. He's just going to base, get his lost chapter, so he's so far ahead of his counterpart in the jungle. Going to clear from bot to top again, because that's just based on where his camps are spawning from the first initial clear. He's going to be level 6 extremely fast, which might swing this mid lane matchup back in favor of Fido.
That it certainly could do, and I think that's going to be an interesting point, right, as to what they want to try and do with that priority if they can find it. Because generally speaking, Ground Zero haven't been the biggest fans of these dragons. They've always gone for these grubs, and it just screams to me that their focus has always been on the macro. If we get a kill, if we get a moment, if we get a better trade, we can take a tower. That tower gives us more space, we can roam, we can deny even more on the map. And it sort of just goes on from that point. There's Jovi! Once again! That's a second solo kill, and now he's 2-0.
What a nice rocket jump coming out of Jovi. It dodges the initial Q coming out of Fido, so that, you know, all that damage, all the front-loaded damage coming out of Corki is avoided. Gets the level up, finds the buster shot, which adds a stack to that explosive shot, and it's an easy solo kill for himself. So there is a saving grace for Ion right now in the mid lane, but Coley caught out of position.
Yeah, certainly is caught out of position and still looking for a way back into this game. Really is playing a dangerous one, though, constantly running around enemy side and thinking, is this warded? Is it not? That is the question, as he might find himself 2 bot laners in a second. Vision not to be found there, and Lemus can just say, well, I'm going to be farming underneath this turret. So no harm, no foul on that occasion. But this is an interesting look, isn't it? Already 7 minutes into the game, and it's Ion with the gold lead, and maybe Jovi hunting for a third.
Yeah, and this is just going to be what this mid lane matchup looks like the rest of this game. You see Coley going for the dragon, so I think this is a different look for the teams. Ground Zero never really been a big, have a lot of priority on these objectives. They always cared a lot more. Sean's cared a lot more about camp, stealing away camp. Takes the grubs because that does give a lot of experience to the jungler. But Dragon takes too long. A lot of junglers really don't want to stall this one out. But Ion always been big about getting his objectives, the Riptails, the Dragon, stacking those up and having that win condition in the late game. So if they do maintain this mid priority and the fact that they can match up to the bot lane strength coming out of Ground Zero right now, we might see 2 or 3 dragons coming out of this extended laning phase for Ion, which could really bridge this gap we're going to see from the jungle.
Without a doubt, 100%, right? It's going to really favor both teams' playstyle, their strengths, their strategy. It's going to be interesting to see what the mid game then looks like as a result, and if an actual Dragon Soul point comes into the picture at all, really. Doraemon feels like for an eternity now has been stuck underneath this tower, just relentlessly forced to farm and claim whatever he can get, as it does get denied underneath that one. But now it becomes the time for the supports to get active on the map and roam and rotate and find that way to act as that second jungler. And Shern on vision doesn't really have a care in the world. Says, yeah, Coley, come towards me. What are your laners going to do about it?
That's a level 7 Karthus Skimmy. You know, Coley is walking in with that Strangled Thorns with a level 6, so maybe they find the kill, but Kurak's already here.
Kurak is certainly here. Shunfai has no mana. I don't think he really cares. He goes to the afterlife. All that mana comes back, but it doesn't matter because Doraemon is down. Coley is waiting for the invitation to try and go in, but without any vision there, it is just so scary.
What did I say, Skimmy? Kurak is always in the right position. You know, they communicate this ahead of time. Shunfai's probably like, all right, I want to invade his top side when these camps respawn. Like, can anyone help me here? Kurak's like, all right, I have free time. I have an Ezreal bot lane. I do not need to be there. I can come to the top side. In the right position, you know, clutches that one up. Without him there, that would be Shern going down. That would be a kill going into Doraemon. And the fact that Tien now in that volatile Bruiser matchup does have the lead. This is a very good early game for Ground Zero.
It's the perfect start, right, to try and match that. Obviously, you've got an incredibly strong solo AP. In the Karthus, that's going to be very happy with the way things have played out so far. And not to mention, we're still waiting for that very first Requiem to come to life. And that could turn the tides even further back in their favor, as these lane states have shown that they're not afraid to take a fight. Whilst it's all come from the mid lane primarily, certainly even in the bot lane, they've been trading objectives, or I should say trading summoners when given a chance.
And I think that we have to give a bit of props to Coley. He's done a good job to steal away multiple camps from Shunfai now. So Shunfai is, very greedy clear is being punished. You know, we see him constantly just going over and over again for that full clear, but sticks all in, and there's the Requiem, Skimmy.
There is the Requiem, and that's what we're looking for. The Magnet Storm to make sure there is no survivors on this occasion, and that's really as simple as it is. The Karth is left unchecked. The aggro laners getting a chance to shine now, and the all-in that's rewarded nicely.
Nice guy, Lemus, leaves the kill for Shunfai. I know in solo queue, every 80 carry takes that kill almost every single time. But, we're going to see these constant all-ins coming out of Jovi. But the tabbies have been picked up by Fido now, so a lot of that front-loaded damage is being navigated because a lot of Tristan's damage really comes from having that Kraken Slayer finish, but without that one being completed, and a lot of that damage. But as we do go on the replay, landing the, the WR on Ezreal is so much damage, and it's usually something you to outplay with the cleanse, and the fact that Styx did go for that barrier could be quite a mistake going forward in this game.
Yes, certainly could be. I mean, that was a really nice engage there to set things up for Kurak, to allow Lemus then to hit the devastating combo onto literally everybody. And unfortunately, again, for Coley, just a little bit too late, lagging behind to try and impact that lane and help them out. Just sees his bot lane disappear before his very eyes. Kirak once again on the roam. Doraemon being zoned already to his tier 2. That tower is still so topped up and healthy. The Dragon's Rage to lock him up against the wall. Damage to follow things up with, and a second kill going the way of the Calf as Fido again is the man on the threat, under focus and under siege. And with the assistance of Hex Flash, that's Jovi with kill number 3.
It's all right, Fido. It's okay. We've all been there. We've all been 0-3 with a huge lead on our team right now. He's still going to be able to do his job as the game does go on. But at this point, he has allowed Ion to have this huge win condition. That was very close to me. I got to give it, but that was very nice. 2-shot barrage, but not enough damage. The Kraken is completed there for Jovi. So this is when I was talking about that main power spike when Tristana comes online. You do have that attack speed steroid to proc that, physical damage amp on every third auto. So this is their main point to be able to take over the game, and this is where we need to see Hex Flash group up, use that flash engage to find some kills for his team.
Well, if it's not going to be the mid lane, he's going to say, if you're roaming to my lane, look at Julius, where is your HP bar? Everybody jumps on towards him. Hex Flash goes in with the flash quickness combo and says, you cannot get away with that. That's so disrespectful on our face.
And there we go. They found the kill, Skimmy. They got that initial shutdown onto Lemus, but the kill does go over to Hex Flash to Jovi. So, well, it is good. It is not ideal, but they still have a lot of freedom in this mid lane. Whereas 6 Grubs going over to the Ground Zero members, it's going to be very dicey for the Ion side.
Trying to bait them in as they take some plates before they fall on down. Yes, that next set of Grubs has been taken, so all 6 going the way of Ground Zero as they've done time and time again. But they're going to group up, and it looks like a contest is actually going to go towards this dragon, unless it looks like Tien, despite being here, wants the TP topside.
Yeah, it looks like, as I mentioned before, Ground Zero as a team never really prioritize these dragons, not too much worry about them. They always want to get as much experience and gold as possible. And that's why we see Tien teleporting top side. They're going to be catching 3 waves of farm. They have this side of trade to go for. They can dive this top side as 3 if that is a play they want to go for, and they can secure that first tower gold.
It just makes so much sense though, right? When we're able to play all 3 lanes, who cares about a dragon? We can just win the game right here and now. That Sonic Wave so close to connecting, and the True Shot Barrage just a little bit late, coming all the way from the bottom half of the map. But that'll be the first tower. And with the lane strengths, I think, yeah, Ground Zero are incredibly happy to say, we've done this better than anybody in this league, able to push all 3 lanes whilst you're so shoehorned into saying, we must get this dragon at all costs.
And this is Ground Zero knowing their win conditions, Kimmy, or recognizing the enemy team's win conditions. They know that if Doraemon is ahead on that side lane, Camille can absolutely take over the game. So a lot of time is invested into this top side to make sure Lee Sin is stronger than the Camille, giving him that first blood turret, giving him so many, ganks and dives onto this Camille. So there is no way Doraemon can win that 1v1 on the side. And with Ground Zero going to the mid game, the team we talk about being so scary when it comes to the macro gameplay, having 3 lanes of priority, or maybe 2 just because how strong Jovi is, going to be a very, very scary time for Ion.
Certainly is. It's going to be an interesting way of figuring out how they can actually set up these lane assignments to favor them so Jovi can remain as strong as he is, because only member on his side right now with 6,000 gold to his name, a bit of a divide between him and then Styx, only at 4.7. But Tien, with this pocket pick, with the Lee Sin, quirky and unconventional as it is, to get off to a start like this, you would be very, very happy about. Now, Jovi is the one under threat, doesn't get hit by the combo to start things off with, but then Jovi is able to leave out the safety from that Magnet Storm. Fido's going to Valkyrie into aggression, the flash to get away from that wall of pain, and the Hex Flash just to hit the quickness as a deterrence, not even to land the charm.
Well, they do get the caster's flash out there, so if they do find a winner to engage into Schoenfire, that is the kill, but he is going to find himself more levels. He is working towards that level 11, and that's that really scary point for Carthus, because that's when that Rec Room starts to really hurt. You need to worry about that as a team, because not a lot of these champions have sustain in their kit. Luckily for Styx, he does have that Bloodthirster, so he can sustain up a lot of that front-loaded burst that comes out of the Ground Zero side. But if he does get caught in that Magnet Storm without the cleanse, he has no way of getting out.
Certainly doesn't. It's going to be pretty rough if you're locked inside of that one. Most fun in the game, though, at this stage is Tien, who's been given so much freedom to do as he pleases. Takes the first tower on the top side of the map, give it a small moment to shine in the bot lane, and nearly chips away to claim that one as well. When Schoenfire just, addicted to this objective top side. 6 Grubs into the first Herald, into nobody looking at him.
And I think this is also really nice to see from Ground Zero. In weeks past, we saw Schoenfire would go for these solo invades, would find himself falling down, but so many times that he has been walking enemy jungle, he has had Tien in his back pocket, he has had Kurak hovering him from base. So nice to see that this team, still being the best team in our league, is still evolving throughout the weeks. They're still becoming better and better at this playstyle that they're so proficient on.
Well, Kirak is very far overextended. Does have Tien to his side in a second to try and lean upon if he can find it, but whether or not Tien feels like he wants to jump in this. He sees the Requiem go out. That is a level 11 Karthus right now, so he says it's my time to shine. Safeguard to safety, but is he safe at all? One flash having to be burnt. Fido comes in here without the TP, just waiting in the brush. And Iron get distracted for just a second and end up losing their tower.
Bit of a deterring Requiem from Schoenfire there. I think that was really nice, honestly, because you don't really expect him to throw the ult out if there's no pressure coming onto himself. But Jovi is staying around here. Multiple members from Ground Zero.
He is going to rocket jump to safety, but is he going to be safe enough? Fantastic ult to safety. Says, I can do some Lee Sin shenanigans of my own right now, and then both supports explode into life. There's the two-man Stranglethorns, and there's the all-important shutdown. Going the way of Doraemon, would you believe it? And the Camille really, really needed that one.
That's perfect for Ion, and a nice play of discipline from Doraemon. So this is what we talked about in weeks past, where they would find these, kills, and they would continue to snowball and throw the lead that they garnered in that team fight. So nice to see that they are having that disciplined gameplay. They are going to base, they are going to worry about tempo. Finding that kill onto the Camille is so big for them, but what a nice play from Jovi Skimming.
So many times, though, it feels like Jovi is the bait, is the attraction of we need to go towards him, but that ult to safety really sets the play up.
Yeah, and the fact that they did find that initial engagement with Hex Flash on the Rakan is so good. There was no Wreck on there, so there is no trade coming out, but Skimmy, there is a fight happening in mid lane. Another
fight straight out of the replay, as to be expected, right? You don't get a chance to break down these fights, Telly. I think you would have learned this after 6 weeks. We just go, go, go. And on this occasion, there is nothing to come of it than just a few HP bars being tickled and mid lane being the point of priority.
Yeah, and the whole time, Karthus farming away, Schoenfire farming away, trying to become as strong as possible. But there isn't really that, lead that we worried about in the early game anymore. It's just that experience lead towards himself. I think the items are quite similar when we look at Zari's inventory. They're going to have that same power, but once again, as I mentioned in draft, Karthus just has an easier job of being effective this game, right? All he needs to do is throw down that wall of pain, throw out the Requiem. He can impact these team fights, whereas Collie really needs members to run into him, run into these plants to really have any impact in this fight, because if the Rakan and the Camille dive forward without Flash, you cannot really follow that up.
You can't. It's been a little bit rough at the best of times, right? But you do see on that occasion there, Grand Zero. Something else, Shelly doesn't get given a passenger, no pilot to guide it to a direction, does still get the headbutt off successfully. And as mentioned before, with these 6 grubs, any single time I go for this predictable play, if we need this dragon, that is our win condition. Grand Zero say that's great. We just push up these waves, and Tien is a split-pushing menace. This will be tower number 3.
And this is a proactive play from both teams, right? Ground Zero recognize that Ion are overgrouping and they just, they get the gold, they get the experience, that's all they really care about. But Ion, they only care about these dragons, right? They care about getting this win condition in that Hextech Soul, because if they do get themselves that Hextech Soul, all of a sudden, these strong members are even stronger. Only 2 members here right now. There is the Requiem. Can he outplay this one again?
Nicely done onto Kirak. That would be the main threat, but now he has to take a 1v1 into Fido, who says, yep, I'm not an AP Corky anymore. I probably can't queue from range with these rockets. You've, escaped our grasp yet again. And that seems to be the difference, right? It's Tien split pushing, it's Jovi responding on the other end of the map. And it's a case of who looks to try and punish it first to maybe, get a flash or burn something of use.
What a performance from Jovi so far this game, Skimmy. I think that when he plays these range champions, he just looks so much better. He's constantly avoiding so much pressure being put into him. We've seen so many Gengar Tefts onto Jovi, on the side lane, on the mid lane. Always getting out alive, either trading kills or chunking the enemy out, just making sure that he's having so much pressure on the map. So really good to see by him. And I think that when that 3rd item comes out for the Tristana is when this champion really comes online and can really take over this game. And with the fact that Tien is not matching him on that side lane, Fido cannot do anything against this Tristana without team members.
Fido's not a happy man whatsoever, right? 0-3 during the laning phase. Certainly was the point of focus, was the one they looked to try and target on down. And it's worked off beautifully, right? The Navori Quick Blade's already done, so a full item advantage over him, but Kirak going to be locked in place, tries to run to safety, but gets locked in place by the roots. They turn it around, 2 Magnetic Storm, True Shot Barrage, Requiem, drop down every kind of AoE ultimate you can muster, and hope that you can find the kill. Lights out for Styx, even get a chance to utilize that barrier. And the flash didn't give him anywhere near enough space. And
these are the plays I was talking about, Skimmy, that I was worried what we would see from Ion into Ground Zero. They look for these mismatched team fights. They blow a lot of their engaged tools onto Kirak, and we know what they look like in weeks past, right? When there's so many kills were going on to this very tanky Leona, he would just sit there and absorb it all, and all of a sudden the Ground Zero members would show up and clean up. And that's exactly what we saw just then. With the quickness going onto Kirak means there's no pressure onto Lemus. The Requiem comes out from Schoenfire. And with the TP onto Styx, he blows his flash, he dies, all of a sudden they have priority in all these lanes and they have control again.
You bring up a really good point, though. I don't know what it is about Kurak, but his supports just feel tankier. I mean, that series up against Antic in the last week of the regular split, every game in Leon, you're like, how's this guy? Like, he's got like an item, like Warmog's full build, but he lives as if he's like a level 18 Sign. I just didn't quite understand it, but maybe that is the beauty of the beast. Well, 20 minutes on the dot. You wouldn't expect to see them rush a Baron any stretch of the imagination, but Shobi says, well, Fido, you're not going to enjoy this game whatsoever, and if I can get in your head, maybe this could be a decisive factor to try and close out the series. He takes one. Now, another challenger enters the arena. He just leaps into Schoenfire and says, you've probably got me.
You know what, maybe you didn't expect Kurak to show up. They are starting the Baron though, so this is curious. Schoenfire will not be able to get here. Zyra is a champion who can do this Baron really fast with setup, but didn't have the plan set up, so they're going to be decided to disengage. And Timmy, if it is going to be the Baron still extended from these members, Tien doesn't take any damage. Schoenfire is coming from base. This is the Hex Gates coming out. There is the flash on Hex Flash, so if he can find that engage onto the backline of Lemus, you know, he could die to Doraemon, but the engage is coming out.
Let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can find. Tien jumps in on his own. Kurak there, forced to follow with the flash pounce, hit them with the Magnet Storm, lock them down for the start, but then just the shutdown that goes the way of Doraemon. Lemus removes him from the table and flashes the safety thereafter. Kurak behind enemy lines, tries to lock down as many as they can, pad those HP bar down low, and hope that the Requiem can be the deal sealer. The Baron in the end does reset, but it will be a one-team fight for GZ.
A very, very easy one-team fight for them. Their main damage threat from Ion was not there. He was on the grey screen, did have the TP, so he is back on the map, but Skimmy, want to go to a little Boris point. Actually, I'll hold my point as Jovi is diving.
There is no time to talk. There is never a time to talk. That is kill number 5. Jovi is in another world. Why is he so good?
I'm very impressed by this player, Skimmy. I think that he has talent. This champion, or the meta for him right now, is so good. He just needs to know how to play these mid games, and what we're seeing right now is, you know, that case.
Yeah, has leveled up through the roof. Let's run back with a replay and see how it all started off, because initially Ion started, but then Grand Zero ready to pick it up.
Yeah, and this is Tien going in, absorbing so many engaged tools coming out of the Ion side, and this is really good by him. He made so much pressure for his backline to be able to walk up and do so much damage. And Fido, having that shorter respawn time means he's here before the main threat of Ion and gets to clean this one up with the Requiem coming out of Schoenfire.
It doesn't seem fair though, does it, when the fights are this close and you realize, oh wait, we've still got that laser from the sky to play cleanup crew. And you think, it all feels a little bit hopeless. But as you mentioned very early on into this game, right, despite Collie falling so far behind, still to be net positive, 0-4 in the KDA. Yes, you're falling behind in the CS, but still at a strong point. With the Leandra he's done, let's see what they can do around this objective they've spent this entire 23 minutes praying towards. A Dragon Soul.
This is a very hard scenario for Ion, right? They do not have the flash to engage with the Rakan. I talked about how Grand Zero do have that range advantage, so this is going to come down to a smite flip, Skinny.
Let's see then who's got the steadier hands. Out goes some ultimates to try and guarantee it. It's going to be a two-man knockup that gets Schoenfire in the end. Hexflash jumps across with the quickness expiring. The same fate is shared by his champion. So in the end, it will just be a kill for kill. But Grand Zero bought themselves 5 extra minutes.
Yeah, curious that Collie didn't even try to go for that smite this game. He just decided to, you know, kill Schoenfire, play his range. Didn't want to fall over there just in case the enemy could go to Baron, but Schoenfire doesn't care. Puts his body on the line, gets the objective for his team, and denies that soul point for Ion. And I think it's so important that we look at how these team fights function, because we saw Hexflash dive in, but pretty much no one on his team could follow up. As we do go into the replay, we get to see, you know, zoned out by that wall of pain. I mentioned how important this was. Zyra out of range to smite because he is slowed down, he is scared, but Hexflash diving in when no one on his team can follow up, and I think this is such a big mistake for Rakan this game. He needs to play on his carries, who are extremely strong.
Yeah, there seems to be the mismatch of communication that we've sometimes seen plague them during that regular season. Let's see though, as Tien finally gets punished in this side lane, going to be receiving 2 members hunting him down with the aggression. Once again, a deterrence with that Requiem, and for good reason too, because Schoenfire was rushing to assist his team, who was starting up the Baron for the second time.
No flash on the Rel this time, so there isn't going to be that huge engage. The bullet time is almost off cooldown 4 sticks, but this is going to be a Baron go to Ground Zero. Will the fight be won for them?
Let's see then what's going to happen as a result. Jovi waiting across the wings, looking to try and see what he can find as a result, and they're going to try and slow them down, but a TP coming in from Tien right now. It's going to be a 5v4 because Coley is still limping behind in the river. 5v5 looks inevitable at this stage, but it's a case of who can get the right target selection, and Tien's absolutely isolated Zyra in the river. That one-man stranglefall to buy time. You go back topside, and the True Shot Barrage hasn't found anybody, but it's got them all dangerously, dangerously low. Both supports with massive amounts of AoE crowd control, but in the the end, Lemus just a little bit too good with the triple and the ace.
And this is the range advantage I keep talking about. It's so hard for Ion to get in and do damage. Even though Jovi is so strong on that Tristana, he has no sustain. He has no Bloodthirst or third, right? So a lot of the damage that does hit him from the Ezreal poke, the Corki poke, the Skittles coming out of Karthus does stick. And with him getting chunked out, forced to jump away from that team fight, no one on his team can really do what he can right now.
Certainly can't, and it's a big reason why we talked about Lemus and his form that he's been in this split. Certainly for me, at least, feels like a career high. Absolutely been bossing it every single game, and this one no exception. 7-1-2 now on the Ezreal. It was the first pick when so many fantastic champions were up and available. This is a big indicator why.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that these team fights, they could look quite different, but I'll hold my voice here because another
Ultra point for a stand. Coley, unfortunately, has been slain like a jungle camp in his own jungle. And this is when things go from bad to worse. You're now down behind 10,000 gold. Ground Zero really in their driving seat, really where they feel comfortable. Really unafraid to run behind these towers. They don't have a care in the world. You think you're topped up and healthy? Not anymore. Popped just like that.
Doesn't even have any of those big road items, but still going to take out Misfortune from 40% health. That is level 16 on Germfire, 3 points in his ult, and this is going to be a very easy game close for them, Skimmy.
So it should be 6 grubs and a tower that doesn't really have much left in the tank to try and survive on this occasion. Doraemon jumps in with the Hail Mary to try and take down Schoenfire, successful in that pursuit, but will concede his life as a result of that one. And inside the fountain, Hexflash trying to play dodge left, right, and center. One member respawns, nearly dies right after. But in 26 minutes, Grand Zero open up their playoff account with a very convincing W.
Yeah, and I think this game went exactly how we expected. We just thought there was going to be a lot of volatility in the mid lane that would favor Jovi if he does find some early game lead. But hit the mid game, hit those side lanes, and Ground Zero took over with their, prowess in the, the fact they're such a veteran-heavy side, and they just have such a good macro game.
And I think really for what you'd expect to go into this matchup, it's